Hello everyone. So our today's topic of discussion is the important miscellaneous topics for two-dimensional geometry. Okay, so in this video we'll be basically discussing only five things. So first is when you have a circle inscribed in an equilateral triangle. So what is the relationship between side of an equilateral triangle and radius of the circle? Second case that we'll be discussing is circles circumscribing an equilateral triangle. Again the same thing, we're going to try and figure out the relationship between side of an equilateral triangle with the radius of the circle. Third case is square circumscribed in a circle. Then the next case is square inscribed in a circle. Again the same thing, we'll try to figure out relationship between side of a square and radius of a circle. And the last thing that we'll be discussing is the regular hexagon. So in case of regular hexagon, we'll be calculating three things. First is how to calculate the area of the regular hexagon if the side is given to us. Second is how to calculate the length of the longest diagonal if side is given to us. And the third thing is how to calculate the length of the shorter diagonal, or it's also called as the height. These are the three things, these are the five things that we'll be discussing, and irrespective of whichever exam you're planning to take, these out of these five things, one of the things is usually asked in the exam. All right. Okay, so let's begin with the first thing, that is circle inscribed in an equilateral triangle. Now, whenever a circle is inscribed in an equilateral triangle, so what we can do is we can consider the side of an equilateral triangle to be a units and radius to be small r, and I need to find relationship between a and r. Now what is the logic or what is the concept that we need to use in this case in order to determine the relationship? The concept is that whenever you have a circle inscribing or circumscribing, whenever you have a circle inscribing or circumscribing an equilateral triangle, then the center of the circle overlaps with the center of the triangle. The concept is the center of circle overlaps center of equilateral triangle. Now what is center of an equilateral triangle? The term for the center of an equilateral triangle is centroid. It's known as centroid. Now what is a centroid? So centroid is basically a point that is formed by connecting the three medians, or it's basically the point where the three medians of a triangle intersect. Okay, so for example, if I draw the median, three medians, so let's suppose from P if I draw it from Q, and if I draw it from R, so this is what my three medians would look like, and their point of intersection, this point here, this is basically known as centroid. So centroid is basically point of intersection of three medians. Another thing that we need to know about centroid is that centroid divides the median in the ratio of 2:1. Centroid divides the median in the ratio of 2:1. So I'm gonna like concentrate only on one median now. So let me remove the remaining two. So I'm gonna concentrate on the median that is dropped from P, and let's say that this point is S, where it's meeting the base. And this point centroid, I'm gonna call this as O. Now centroid divides the median in the ratio of 2:1. Two part is always from the vertex and one part is always from the base. So I can go on saying that PO divided by SO is equal to 2/1. Okay. So the centroid always divides the median in the ratio of 2:1. Two part is from the vertex, one part is from the base. Alright. Now, when we were doing basics on the types of triangles, I told you that if you're going to drop a median in an equilateral triangle, it also behaves as the height of an equilateral triangle. When we were doing the basics of triangles and the different types of triangles, in that case, we discuss equilateral triangle. And while doing equilateral triangle, I taught you that if you're dropping a median in an equilateral triangle, that will also behave as the height or as a perpendicular. Now, height of an equilateral triangle is nothing but root 3 times into side divided by 2. So I can say that the value of PS will be root 3 8 by 2. Now O is also the center of the circle, so I can go on saying that OS will be equal to the radius of the circle. OS will be equal to radius of the circle. Now PO divided by SO is 2:1, which means I can also say that SO divided by PO is 1:2, or I can also say that SO divided by PS is equal to 1/3. Easy to prove. If SO by PO is 1:2, so you can take SO to be X. PO will automatically become twice of X. So SO divided by PS. Now PS is what? PO plus SO. So it's going to be X divided by X plus 2S, which is X divided by 3X, which is equal to 1/3. So if SO by PO is 1/2, then SO by PS will automatically be 1/3. Now what is SO? SO is the radius of the circle, so replace that by small r. What is PS? PS is nothing but height of an equilateral triangle, which is root 3 times the side divided by 2, and this is equal to 1/3. So I can say that the radius will be equal to root 3a by 2 into 1/3, which is equal to side divided by 2 root 3 units. So the relationship that you need to remember is the radius is equal to side divided by 2 root 3 units. So whenever you have a circle inscribing an equilateral triangle, then the radius of the circle is nothing but side divided by 2 root 3 units. Now you may or you may not remember the proof, but please do remember the result. The questions can be directly based on the result. Okay. Alright, next one is circles circumscribing an equilateral triangle. The logic remains the same. That is, the center of the circle and the equilateral triangle overlaps. So this point here, because centroid will be the center for the triangle and centroid is going to overlap with the center of the circle. So let me name the triangle P, Q, R and S, and you can call this T. So PS and QT are the medians, so their point of intersection will automatically be the centroid. Okay, I'm going to remove QT, it's not required. So you can call this O, and I know that centroid divides the median in the ratio 2:1, so PO divided by SO is again equal to 2/1. Now O is also the center of the circle, so PO will be the radius of the circle. Also you can again take the side of an equilateral triangle to be A units, so PS will simply become root 3a by 2 units, because height of an equilateral triangle is root 3 times the side divided by 2. Now if PO by SO is 2:1, I can go on saying that PO divided by PS will be equal to 2/3. Again the same thing, PO is 2x, SO is x. So PO divided by PS. Now what is PS? PS is PO plus SO, that is x plus 2x. Alright, so PO by PS is 2/3. Now what is PO? PO is acting as the radius, so write that as capital R. So we can say that the radius will be capital R in this case. We use small r for the previous one, that's why I'm writing this as capital R. So divided by root 3a by 2 is equal to 2/3. So R is 2/3 into root 3a by 2. Cancel these two 2's and this will become a by root 3. So radius of the circle is side divided by root 3 units. Radius of the circle is side divided by root 3 units. Okay, so when the circle is inscribing, then the radius was side by 2 root 3, and when the circle is circumscribing, then the radius is side divided by root 3. You can also form the relationship between the two things. So I have small r equal to a by 2 root 3. I have capital R equals to a by root 3. So I can say that small r will be equal to capital R divided by 2. So if you have an equilateral triangle, you have an incircle, you have a circumcircle, then the radius of the incircle is half the radius of the circumcircle. Alright, let's move on. Next one is square circumscribing a circle. So whenever you have a square circumscribing a circle, you will remember that side of a square is equal to diameter of circle. Side of a square is equal to diameter of a circle. So you can see that also. For example, now these both the two things are basically the regular figures. Square is a regular figure, circle is also a regular figure. So the centers of the two things are gonna like overlap each other. You can see that the centers are basically overlapping. So you can take side of a square to be a units and radius for the circle to be small r. So let me name the points P, Q, and this is O. So PO is R, OQ is R, so PQ is twice of R. And if you'll observe carefully, if I name this as A and this as B, you'll also observe that PQ will be equal to AB, right? Because they both are like parallel lines. So PQ is equal to AB, which means this should be equal to A. So from here you'll get simply R is equal to A by 2. So whenever a square is circumscribing a circle, the radius of the circle is nothing but side of the square divided by 2. Side of the square divided by 2. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. A square inscribing a circle. Now in this case, you should realize that the diagonal of the square draw this properly. So if I name this P, if I name this Q, diagonal of a square is equal to diameter of the circle. In this case, diagonal of square is equal to diameter of circle. Now we can calculate the diagonal, we can also calculate the diameter. So I can name this R and this as S. So this angle is 90 because we know that all vertex angle in square is R90. You can use the Pythagoras theorem. We'll get the length of PQ to be root 2a units. And I can take the radius of this circle to be capital R. So PQ is equal to root 2a units. PQ is also equal to 2R units. So root 2a is equal to 2R, or a is equal to root 2R, or better write it this way, that radius is equal to side divided by root 2 units. So in the previous case it was side by 2, in this case it's side divided by root 2. So R is side divided by root 2. Previous case it was a by 2. If you want, you can form a relationship also. So capital R is equal to root 2 times the small r, or the radius of the circle circumscribing the square is root 2 times the radius of the circle inscribing the square. Okay, so remember these conclusions, because these conclusions will be used in one question or the other. Okay, if you know the conclusion, it becomes easier for you to solve the question in the exam. All right, one last thing that we need to do is a regular hexagon. So let's see what we can do. So first of all, it's a regular hexagon. So let me first name the vertices. And first of all, let me calculate some of the interior angles of this regular hexagon. The formula is, we have already studied that, that is n minus 2 into 180 degrees. The sum of internal angles of any polygon is given by n minus 2 into 180, where n is the number of sides. So it will be 6 minus 2 into 180, which is 4 into 180 degrees, which is equal to 720 degrees. Now since this hexagon is a regular hexagon, so I can say that each internal angle is going to be 720 by 6, which is equal to 120 degrees. So angle A is 120, B is 120, C is 120, D is 120, and so on. Now we'll be calculating three things in this. All three are important. Please do remember the results. First is, we'll be calculating the area. Second is the longest diagonal. And third is the shorter diagonal or the height. Now when you talk about the term diagonal, that's basically a line segment that is connected, that is formed by connecting the diametrically opposite vertices. For example, if I'm going to connect F with C, A with D, or B with E, so it's going to be either something like this, or it's going to be something like this, or it's going to be something like this. Okay, these are the three diagonals. If you want to know what exactly is height, that's like connecting the adjacent vertices. For example, I can connect A with E, You can connect B with D also, you can connect A with C also, but I hope you have got the point. Okay, so these are the three things which you need to calculate. Okay, let this be drawn because I'll be calculating this. Correct. Now it's a regular figure. So if it is a regular figure, so diagonals are gonna bisect the vertex angle, right? Which means I can say that this will be 60, 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 and so on and so forth. Now concentrate on any one of the triangles. For example, I can concentrate on BOC. If I concentrate on BOC, you'll observe that two angles are already 60, 60. So third has to be 60 because sum is 180. Likewise, you'll observe that all the remaining 5 triangles are also equilateral triangles. So I can say that the first thing is a regular hexagon is made up of 6 equilateral triangles. They're made up of 6 equilateral triangles. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to consider the side of this regular hexagon to be A units. Now again concentrate on BOC. Again concentrate on BOC. If BC is A, then BO will automatically be A and CO will also be automatically A. Okay, now I'm going to remove like some things because otherwise then this will become, it's going to have like too many things inside it which may confuse us. So what is not required, I'm going to remove that. Alright. Now concentrate only on BOC. BC is A, so automatically BO would be A and CO would also be A. So it's an equilateral triangle having side A units. Now how to calculate the area of an equilateral triangle having side A units? The formula is root 3 by 4 into side square. That is root 3 by 4 into A square. Now regular hexagon is made up of how many equilateral triangles? 6 equilateral triangles. So total area will simply become 6 into root 3 by 4 into A square. So if you simply know the side of a regular hexagon, then you can calculate the area using the formula 6 into root 3 by 4 into A square. The next thing is the diagonal. So for diagonal, you can either calculate AD or BE or CF. It's completely up to you. I'm going to calculate CF. So if you calculate CF, CF is nothing but CO plus FO. Now what is CO equal to? You can see it for yourself. That's equal to A. And as far as FO is also concerned, now since AF is equal to A and AOF will also be an equilateral triangle, so FO would also be equal to A. So CO is A, FO is A. So length of the diagonal will simply, or length of the longest diagonal will simply be equal to 2A. Length of the longest diagonal will simply be equal to twice of A. And the last thing we need to do is the height or the shorter diagonal. So for that I have already connected A with E. Now since it's a regular polygon, so what's going to happen, CF is going to meet AE at an angle of 90 degrees. Or let's suppose we do not believe in that, no problem. I know that this angle is 60, right? Now it's a regular polygon, so diagonal is going to bisect the vertex angle. Now for AE, The vertex angle is this 60 degrees. This angle, that is 60 degrees. Okay, so AE is going to bisect the 60 into two parts. So this will become 30 and this will also become 30. So this will automatically become 90. So I'm going to take this, let me name this point M. I'm going to take this AMF outside. So AMF will be something like this. AMF, this here is 60, this is 90, and this here is 30. And AF is equal to A units because that's the side of a regular hexagon. Now I hope you remember the right angle triangle having angle 30 degrees, 60 degrees, 90 degrees. So the ratio of the sides opposite to 30, 60, 90 was 1 is to root 3 is to 2. Was 1 is to root 3 is to 2. Opposite to 90 it's A. So opposite to 30 it's going to be A by 2. And opposite to 60 it's going to be root 3A by 2. So this AM, I'm shading this with black. This AM here is root 3A by 2. So this ME will also be root 3A by 2. The same way you can do it for FME also, right? And it's a regular polygon, so the two triangles are going to be congruent. So if AM is root 3A by 2, ME has to be root 3A by 2. So root 3A by 2 plus root 3A by 2 is root 3A. So height is root 3A. So remember the three results. First is area, 6 into root 3 by 4 into A square. Second is the longest diagonal, which is 2A. And third is the height, which is root 3A. So when we'll be taking up questions on whatever we have done, we'll simply be using the outcomes or the results. We will not be proving these things again while we'll be solving questions based on these 5 things. So I hope all the 5 things are clear to each one of you. If you have any doubts, if you have any concerns, any questions, do let me know. Alright. So thank you so much guys for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed it and you have learned something new. So thank you so much guys, and keep watching and keep learning. Thank you so much.